It's Global Game Jam and we had 48 hours to make a game with the theme Mask. It's been a long time since I jammed with other people, so I invited my friends Jack and Ed to get involved this year. Jack is a game developer with 4 years of experience. Last time we jammed together was all the way back for Global Game Jam 2016. Ed is a C++ developer with 10 years of experience. We've jammed together a number of times, most recently for Global Game Jam 2023. As for me, I'm Lewis, also known as Skeffels. I'm a software engineer with 10 years of experience, and for the last 5 years I've been making games and game dev videos. The game we made is called Masquerade. It's an arcade shooting gallery where you fire colours at a crowd to improve their mood. If you get them all happy and dancing, you've won. I'll be honest, this gameplay loop didn't come out as well as we had hoped. We had quite a lot of other ideas, but we had to cut them for time. This meant we focused our efforts on the shooting mechanic, the crowd, and basic art. When the theme was announced on the Friday night, it was just me and Ed. We wrote down a bunch of things linked to the theme. This led us down the road of clowns and entertainment. Ed had a vision of a clown entertaining an audience, having to match the performance with the mood of the crowd. This idea evolved into the shooting gallery game where you shoot coloured bombs at the crowd to improve their mood. With this idea in place, we planned out the mechanics. This conversation raised a lot of questions which we needed to answer. For example, what would the bullet travel time be, and how does the player choose a colour to fire? Once we had the answers to all of these, we created a board of sticky notes to track the tasks we were working on. I began by throwing together some quick and dirty concept art. At this stage I didn't care about aesthetics, I just needed to know the scale and layout of the game. Whilst I did that, Ed looked at code. We were using the Godot game template that I made last year for the GMTK Game Jam, and he started adding useful classes for the game, including a colour library and bomb details. On the second day, I returned to the concept art. I struggled with the crowd members, but found it was an overall improvement to the first version. The stage was more detailed, the UI was clear, and the image had more colour, giving us a good idea of what it was actually going to look like. With this art in place, I created the crowd member behaviour. They are very simple. A crowd member will pick an action and a time. They'll do that action until the time is up, and then they'll pick again. This allowed crowd members to walk around and idle. Whilst I worked on that, Ed coded the bomb logic. There were 3 slots the player could choose from. When firing the selected bomb, the bomb would move to the mouse position, and the selected bomb slot would generate a new bomb. Halfway through day 2 and Jack joined us. Having fresh eyes was a game changer. He played the game and immediately pointed out that the bomb slots felt clunky. This was because there was a mismatch between the way we had discussed them and how we planned them. Originally we envisioned them similar to seeing your next piece in Tetris. With this in mind, Jack designed an improvement for a queue of bombs that the player could pick from. This gave the player a meaningful choice when selecting the bombs and was a good task to get Jack involved. He also looked at the crowd behaviour. This required him to introduce mood to the crowd and change their masks based on their mood. He also introduced 2 new actions, dance and board. This let you see your progress much better. To help support these ideas, I began making animations for the crowd. This was a lot more work than I had originally planned, so I kept them as basic as I could. I introduced a walk forward, walk backward, and idle animation for all 5 mask variations. I also added a dance for the smiling mask and a cry for the sad mask. We then used the game engine to recolor these to create the crowd variations and scale them to give the game a 2.5D feeling. Ed helped by creating the crowd generation code. This required a number of members to spawn at random locations on the stage, pick their colors and their mood. He also added a mood bar, which tracks the mood of the whole crowd, and he added a target to show where the bombs would land. Going into the final day, the game was almost ready. We just had a long list of polishing tasks to get it released. For this, I worked on the last few animations, including the cannon firing. I also worked on the bomb scaling and the smiley face effect, so it felt like they were actually doing something when they landed. I also put together images and colours to update the game template to match the game. Jack found and fixed a bug in said game template, improved the collision around the crowd members so it felt fair, and he added sound and music, which really made the game feel better. And Ed worked on the game balance and game end, making sure you win when all the crowd is dancing. Finally, I grabbed screenshots and colours and uploaded the game to both itch and the Global Game Jam websites. This jam was really fun. I definitely have missed working with people during jams. There's something fun and exciting when you're all working closely together towards the same goal. Even if the game isn't fun, it's a very rewarding process to go through. Also, I feel that we worked really well as a team. When I compare my last team jam for Global Game Jam 2023, this was much nicer. I think partially because I wasn't trying to make a video out of the actual event, but also because we planned things much better. We asked a lot of questions early on, and that saved us from making mistakes later. And whilst it wasn't ideal that Jack only joined us halfway through, having new eyes on the game was really refreshing and gave us a better direction than if we had all worked on it from the start. So despite the flaws in gameplay, the game jam was fantastic, and I think, or perhaps hope, I can persuade my friends to join me for more jams in the future. I hope you've enjoyed watching this devlog for Global Game Jam. Leave the video a like to let me know you did, and subscribe for more great game development content. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.